Hi everyone. Today we will be doing some solutions or rather examples for simple interest questions. Mrs. Ricky borrowed 5340, so $5,340 from a bank at 9.5%. So that's the rate per annum. Annum means year. Simple interest for 5 years. That's the time. So one, they want us to determine the sum of money paid in interest. So they are asking us to work out interest here, right? So A is the interest. Even though they said sum of money, I don't want you to mix it up and think it's principal. The sum of money paid in interest. So we are working out our SI, which is equal to PRT over 100, which is equal to our principal is, as they told us, she borrowed 5340. So that's our principal by rate 9.5 by time, which is 5 all over 100, which is equal to 2536.50. So that's the answer for part A. So the total amount of money repaid to the bank. So the total money repaid would be the principal plus the interest, right? Because you borrowed their principal, you borrowed the principal from them, and they gave you a specific amount of interest to repay, which is the simple interest. So we have to add that and repay the bank. 5340 plus the interest we just worked out 2536.50, which is equal to 7876.50. All right, and that's the total amount there. Now, lastly, they asked us to work out the each monthly installment, right? We know that installments, for us to get the monthly installment, we just divide how much we have to pay, which is the 7876.50 by how much time we have to pay it. And we have 5 years to pay it off. But since they want monthly, we have to break up the 5 years into months. So you'll multiply 5 by 12, which is 60, because there are 12 months in each year. So 5 by 12, that would be 60, right? And we divide that to get our answer, 7876.5 divided by 60, which is 131.28. So it's 275, so we're rounding into 2 decimal places, 28. So for every month for 5 years, we're going to pay the bank, or she's going to pay the bank $131.28. That's it there for this question. I hope that you understand. Let us move on to another question now. In this example, Mr. Capola borrowed $5,760 from a bank at 8.25% per annum simple interest for 9 months. Evaluate now the simple interest that she had to repay the bank or pay the bank. All right. So they want us to work out the simple interest. Same thing. PRT over 100, which is equal to 5760 multiplied by 8.25 multiplied by 9 months. So remember, simple interest is worked out per year. So seeing that it's months, we put 9 over 12 to show what part of the year we're dealing with. All right, so 9 out of 12, so it's still in a yearly format over 100, and this will be equal to 356.40. So 356.40. Nice. So part B, the total amount of money that was repaid to the bank. So it's the same format again. Total repaid would be equal to your principal plus the interest, which is equal to 5760 add 356.40, which is equal to 611.6.40. And part C now, the amount for each monthly installment would be equal to the total we have to repay, which is 6116.40 all over how much time? 9 months. So it's already in the format of months already. So we just divide by 9. All right. So this would be 679.60. Right, so this question basically followed the same structure of the previous one. Let's move on to another example. Okay, so for these questions, it's a bit different. So the first one says, calculate the sum of money invested at 8.5% per annum when $2,488 in simple interest was collected after 3 years. So calculate the amount of money invested. So the amount of money invested means your principal. So we are solving for our principal, and the formula for that would be 100I all over your rate by your time, which is 100 by your simple interest, which is your I2488, all over your rate by your time, which is 8.5, by 3 years. So the answer for that will be 9756.86. And that's there simple enough. The principal is equal to that amount. So for the other question here, Mr. Jerome borrowed 12,600 from a bank for 5 years and paid $7,875 in simple interest. So we have his principal, we have his interest, so they want us to work out, and we have his time, they want us to work out the rate. All right, so that would be rate is equal to same 100I all over the other two, principal by time, which is 100 multiplied by 7875 all over principal 12,600 by time, which is 5 years. Now that will be 7875 multiplied by 100 divided by 12,600 multiplied by 5, 12.5%, right? Right, and lastly, 9,000 was put into a fixed deposit, all right, for 6 months, and the rate of simple interest was 8.5% per annum. The total amount received was reinvested for a further 6 months at 8% per annum. Calculate the final amount. Okay, so this is a two-step problem. The first part we have to work out is the simple interest for the first part, which is 9,000 multiplied by rate, which is 8.5, multiplied by time, which is 6 months. 6 months, so we put 6 over 12. Remember, when it's months, we put it over 12 to represent the year, all over 100, and this will be equal to 382.50. So they said the total amount received was reinvested for a further 6 months. So therefore, we have to add this. We have to find out the total now, which is our principal. So we know how to do this from previous. So it's 9,000 plus what we just got, interest, 382.50, which is equal to 9,382.50. And they said that this total there was reinvested for another 6 months at a different rate. So we have to work out simple interest again, which would be the principal, the new principal there, 9,382.5 multiplied by rate. What is the rate? They said 8%. And by time, another 6 months, so 6 over 12, right? All over 100, which would be equal to 9,382.5 by 8 by all over 100, which is equal to 375. So why did we get less? Because our rate went down. It was 8.5, and now it's 8. All right, so it's less. 375.30. So what is the total amount after the period? What would we have to add? We'd add this new principal here, 9,382.5, and add the interest that we just worked out to it. And our total would be 9,757.80. Right? So this question was just like a two-step. You work out simple interest. Whatever interest you got, you add it back to your principal and you do it a second time. You work out interest again, whatever information they gave you, and you get your interest and you add it again to get your total amount to your last interest that you had, which is the 9,382. All right, so that's it for simple interest. We will be moving on to compound interest next class, which is something like this example here. All right, but there's a formula, a strict formula for you to follow with your calculator, and we will get that done. So I hope that you understand the questions that we did on simple interest.